respectful. It was just,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of taking it to a different level, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, like though, if you kind of think about it, oh, now we're live.
Yeah,
I'll do that with you later. All right,
it's interesting.
I need to hit record in here too. I have a theory on that. I think that those thoughts come from somewhere. So if it's a human that's carrying it out, then who's to say that it's not from that person or that being or God
Yeah,
or whatever?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, why can't I not find my record button? Here we go. Record. No, not to the cloud. There we go. All
Uh,
right. And then now we're live on YouTube. Now we're live on Facebook. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight on Cancer Conversations and Choices. My name is Marinette Smith. I'm a registered nurse and holistic cancer coach. And we are going to talk about an interesting topic. We are actually just covering a few things before we hopped on here and did the live, but it's just going to be really good. It's about the sun and what does the sun does it really affect on the human body. And so, like we were just discussing, there's things that say one side on this side and one thing on this side. So we're going to discuss those things tonight and see if we can help find some answers for you. But I do just want to let you know that anything that's discussed on this podcast is for educational, informational purposes only. If you do decide to implement anything that you do here into your healthcare regimen or on your personal lives, then we do request that you follow up with your provider, your licensed healthcare provider, your healthcare team, and make sure it's safe for you to implement, things that we do discuss or anything new that you decide to try. So, and there's various reasons for that, just most importantly for your safety. But we can not wait to talk about what we're going to tonight. So I'll let the other hosts introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Maya Saman, and I'm a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner and holistic cancer coach.
Hi, everybody. My name's Deborah Hernke, and I'm a holistic cancer coach and a functional nutrition lifestyle practitioner, FNLP. And I have my sun hat on.
Yes.
Because
Because
we're
that's
going
our
to talk
topic.
the sun. What did
Yeah.
you say it was, Deb? It was your sunscreen?
It's my sunscreen. It's my
Yeah.
sunscreen.
Your sunscreen.
Yes.
That's an awesome sunscreen.
It is my sunscreen. Yes.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
there's a reason why people wear the big brimmed hats. Because you
Yeah.
really do, you still want to have exposure to the sun. You want your skin to have exposure to the sun, your eyes have exposure to the sun, but you don't want to do it all the time for too long of a period. Otherwise, you run into issues, but we're going to discuss more
Yeah.
of that. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting topic because we've heard from healthcare providers for a very long time to put your sunscreen on to help prevent skin cancer. That's actually still a slogan from certain organizations, and it's still encouraged to do so. But there's another piece to that. But we've also been told to stay out of the sun as much as possible. I mean, sun is damaging, it causes skin cancer, it causes other issues. Um, and so what's really true? What's really out there? What are the studies saying and what are experts saying? And really where are we finding that the truth, I guess, is where I'm trying to go with it. Where is the truth in all of this? So who wants to start?
Right. I could start.
Okay.
Because I've been
Maya's like on fire about this,
She's
you
like,
guys.
yeah.
She is. I went into this like this winter
Sizzling.
time, and
She's sizzling on this topic.
it's
unless Deb would like to get to, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
No, I'm
Deb's
good.
sizzling.
I know that you're gonna kill this topic because of what we were talking about just a little bit ago,
Yeah.
and just some of the conversations we've had in the last few weeks and everything. And I think it's really, really incredible. I think it's really important. So the reason I
Yes.
have my sun hat on is because you're right. I don't want to wear sunscreens. I don't want to put that stuff on me anymore. I mean, growing up, when I, I was in high school, it was baby oil, right? And I put baby
Oh yeah.
oil on. The more sun, the better. And it, obviously now I don't do that. And now I actually enjoy being in the sun for at least about 15, 20 minutes or until I just feel like, okay, I've had enough. On comes the hat or the whatever, and it's perfect. And it's perfect. I haven't had a sunburn in quite some time. And yeah, anyway, I just feel better. I feel healthier, and obviously with a nice little tan, you kind of look a little healthier and whatnot. But that aside, I know that there's a whole lot more that we can get from the sun that we have been misled to believe in the past, and still actually, in doing some of the research on this is just the different sites that you go to, you're going to get different information. And so in that respect, then I'm doing more research. It's like, okay, well, who's funding this? Who's funding this site? Who's funding this site? Because it's all so different. And I'm, and definitely want to learn about it all, but I'm not so sure that I agree with, the completely staying away from the sun. And I was born and raised in the Pacific Northwest. You don't get much sun. And what do we have there? We have a lot of lack of vitamin D. We have a lot of illnesses, chronic conditions that are, it's like, oh, well, you live up there where you're going to have to, MS is prevalent, and it's why, well, it's lack of vitamin D. Well, it's lack of this. And it's just really important stuff. So,
yeah, you're so right, Deb. You're so right. And it's like it's very prevalent along, well, much of the northern hemispheres is below vitamin D. Like really, if you start looking into it, almost everyone is chronically low. And here's the other thing too. Functional medicine levels are different than allopathic medicine levels. So you might feel better one way and you might feel better another. But there's a doctor, his name is Dr. Alex Vasquez. And he digs deep into this too. And he'll point out that it's interesting how many units of vitamin D you get within like 5 minutes of the sun. Does anybody know the answer to that?
I don't know.
No, I don't.
I think it's either it's if it's 5 minutes or it's 15 minutes, it's 10,000 units.
Wow.
So if you're going to be out in the sun for an hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong on that. I need to probably go fact check that part of it, but I know that it's a very short amount of time, but it's a lot that you get.
One of the things that I do know that during COVID was that, and when, all of us had it, the one thing that made me feel the absolute best was sitting in our sunroom and just laying there, just having the sun and I was like, wow. If there was anything I could prescribe, but it was that. And that's what I was telling you, just sit in the sun and just let it soak in and let it do its thing. Cause that was, I felt the best. I don't know whether the warmth, just everything that the sun provided was for me so incredibly beneficial. And so that's what I had my dad do. I had, just, we're going to go outside. We're going to do this. We're going to, just, that's what, yeah, so red light therapy is a good thing too.
It is.
Yeah,
it
for
is.
sure.
And not just for COVID. I was going to say that's where I really, really found that to be extremely helpful.
Well, if you think about it, back in the day, what was that, over 100 years ago, they used to have the rooftops of hospitals or healthcare buildings free. They were flat so that they could take the patients up there. They could take them outside. They could get their daily sun. And there's a lot of European countries still, aren't there, Maya, that where they take their babies out and they'll leave the babies out to get the vitamin D too?
Yes. Actually, so I graduated nursing school back in my hometown in Baku, Azerbaijan, where I'm from. And when I was working in a hospital, doctor would mandate nurses making sure that we take the patients out. So we had to we had to kind of, give this doctor's protocol to medical assistant, and we had to control them to make sure that they would take patients out in a wheelchair or without wheelchair. This is like, I'm talking about late 80s. When I graduated, started working in the hospital. So that was like procedure of following. And if we would miss or forget about it, we would get in trouble as a nurses that we did not follow doctors, rules. Having the patients like walking outside. It's never been, it was like open environment. Patient could go in and out if they're capable throughout the day, as many times that they wish to go out and sit in a outside under the trees, or if they were disabled, so the, medical assistant, like, or similar to medical assistant positions that we had there, they would, help patients to go outside and, spend some time, or loved ones would come and take them out. It would be either way, but it was never, the hospitals were never in the condition what we're experiencing right now. It's like basically what reminds me of a jail. And then the other biggest part, yeah, it's like a jail right now. The last time I was in the hospital was a few months ago. It was a friend of mine. She got pneumonia, so I went to visit her, and it was such a uncomfortable environment, being sitting in the room where she was at. And it was so uncomfortable. It was all those bright LED lights, and then, and the other big part where we always had the ability to open the windows, in the hospital rooms. When I was in school, when we were in school, we always studied with open windows. In the summertime, not in the winter, but in the summertime, we always were able to open the windows. The windows never were blocked to the extent that you cannot open them. Even like I'm thinking, right, but nowadays in schools the windows are hammered down. You cannot open a window to get the fresh air in.
Yeah.
Or that light going through the, circulating in the classroom. You cannot even have that, and that affects kids' mental and behavior stage a lot. There's I'm always thinking like, okay, if they say it's because of the safety of a child keeping the windows closed, but you know what, they could protect kids many other ways, from outside, putting those like metal grids or whatever, for their safety, but still letting the windows open in the classroom for that, circulation of the real light and natural, light coming into the room, instead of sitting with those blue lights that we've been exposed, LED blue lights that the kids been exposed to. There actually a study was done in Sarasota school. I took a note on that one when I was doing my research on I gotta find that. Anyhow, there you go. I found it in my notes here. So the study was done by Dr. John Ott, OTT, in 1973. 1973. This is more than 50 years ago. Okay. So basically the study, he replaced, this is in Sarasota school, he replaced standard fluorescent lights with radiation shield full spectrum lights in 2 classrooms in Sarasota schools. The goal was to access how those lights conditions influence children's behavior and learning outcomes. So this was done in 1973. So the study was done, and it was like phenomenal thing that kids had more cognitive function in terms of like the brain function was higher than the kids who weren't exposed to that. Their attention, learning and behavior was much better. It's improved their attention and behavior, to a full spectrum lights instead of like sitting in fluorescent lights. Their thinking capability and even like, behaving, they were more calm, they were more, the study was so interesting. I should put the study in the chat, I guess. No, it's very interesting study.
It is interesting, and that's 1973.
This is 50 years, more than 50 years now. And when I was reading that study, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, instead of like paying attention to that study, we're actually going deeper into damaging our kids by letting them to sit in those classrooms with those fluorescent light, LED lights, and they're everywhere now. They're in the hospital rooms, they're in the clinics, they're everywhere. They are in everyone's home. just because we're trying to save on energy. We're trying to save on energy for what? When we are destroying our own, physical energy, our own body's energy. What are we trying to save us from? So that was like so fascinating to me that, so last year when I went to Annie Appleseed Project, I listened to a presentation, I think it was from Dr. Nalini Chilkov. She was talking about her, how she approaches her cancer patients. So, and she talked about high dose of, using high dose of melatonin. And she named a number that I was so in shock. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is it possible to take such a high dose of melatonin? So I came home and I was like curious because the benefit of the melatonin on cancer were significant. And I was so curious to know, where that study came from and, why does melatonin is so effective on cancer? So what I learned is, so I came across a professor, Russell Ryder, and he's one of the professors who studied melatonin for over 50 years. So, and from our perspective, like what we learn in nursing school or even as a nutrition coaches, we know, like, we kind of have this assumption that melatonin is a sleep and wake hormone, that it produces in pineal glands, and it's basically, controls our sleep and wake hormone, which is an important part, of course. That's why we sleep at night, and it's affect the cortisol secretion, and everything. So what I learned by reading Professor Ryder's and listening to his presentation, what I learned is like a melatonin does not only get produced in pineal glands. Actually, I believe so. It's only 5% get produced there at the nighttime that balances our circadian rhythm. The rest, 95% of melatonin getting produced in mitochondria.
Yes.
As a antioxidant. And as of one of the ancient antioxidant, my understanding was that the melatonin was part of, so I don't know if you heard, if you know about it or read about it, the mitochondria billion years ago were just isolated microorganism that kind of, somehow got implemented in human body. It was evolution and became part of like a human cell. So that's why mitochondria has its own DNA. Our cell has its own DNA, which is a nucleus DNA, and a mitochondrial DNA, which has its own nuclear DNA. I mean, not nuclear, its own DNA. And so melatonin was a part of that like organism. So it's very old and it's very potent antioxidant. And it plays a role in so many actions of human body, not only as an antioxidant, it's like a hormone regulator, cortisol suppress. I mean, it doesn't suppress the cortisol, but it controls that. And there's many other functions of melatonin. And the way our body makes that melatonin by responding to sunlight. Okay. And based on Dr. Ryder's like a research, that is, we are, as of today, we're depleted as a humans, we're depleted in melatonin from 60 to about 80%. So we're basically, just because we are isolating ourselves, we're hiding ourselves from a sunlight, we're depleting our body from melatonin secretion. So melatonin does play a role in 6 or 7 different functions. And a few of them are basically, it plays a big role in when the body goes through autophagy. That's mean like when the body getting rid of like a cells and start using its own cells. So melatonin plays a big role in there. Melatonin plays a big role in apoptosis, the cancer cell death.
Yep.
Right? So melatonin plays a huge role in when the cancer cells start forming like a blood vessels, to multiply. So melatonin suppresses those things, So this is just to name a few when it comes to cancer. And that kind of put me into the understanding why high doses of melatonin do work on people with cancer. So, but then at the same time, it's like we're giving this high dose of melatonin exogenously by using supplements. So how can we make that melatonin? Because our body is able to make that melatonin. And so it turned out this is where like a biophysics comes in the picture. And I'm not like, a professor or anything, and I don't understand a lot in that part. But to my ability to understand, so my understanding is melatonin would, our body would make a melatonin, mitochondria would react to a sun exposure. And particularly morning exposures from the sunrise, up until like next couple of hours after that, because sun has a wavelength of the purple and the blue light and the red light, the wavelengths, it changes every minute, basically.
The energy.
It changes every minute. And that is like how our body reacts to that. So we do talk about infrared lights. People do, I mean, like a lot of companies trying to sell us like all this infrared lights and it's how good they are. But when they sell those infrared lights, yes, they're good, but they have only certain, wavelengths, you are not getting exact what you can get from sun. That your body is just basically built in to be exposed to and accept, but not coming from all this like all this light that we're getting exposed artificially. So that's what our body is not it's not used to. And then when the other thing that I was thinking that what other part of human body has receptors or tissues or organs have receptors to the sun, So it turned out like almost every part of human body has those receptors. So that made me think like, okay, if the creator or God, whoever you believe in, so if the sun is not that important and if it's caused cancer, why every part of human body has receptors to the sun, to that energy? Because that's how we build the energy in. So it's like I start breaking down the skin, the eyes, the other tissue, the brain is such an important part. So I briefly broke it down, those parts, which I am so like on fire now to go in depth learning on those parts of like, of what every part in details, how does it affect, in the body, ourselves.
It's a big rabbit hole. Once you start going down to it, you can't stop. And then you get into like quantum mechanics and you start getting into quantum biology, and then it's just like it's mind-blowing. It really is. And it's fascinating. It's interesting because this is the very things we probably should have learned about in school. Like really, we should have.
Yeah. But yet at the same time, past 100 years, we were told that the sun caused cancer.
Yes.
Sun causes cancer, and you gotta protect your skin that has receptors to the sun, and it takes the sun, and some receptors, like you said, it's like a effect from those certain receptors, the vitamin D levels affects it. Certain receptors affects like a melatonin production. Certain receptors actually, like we're speaking about. When we speak about cancer, we're not talking about those receptors that affect neuroendocrine system from the sun that we get. So I have read somewhere that triple negative breast cancer could be basically one of the, the results of, and the prostate, basically, it could be a result of like deficiency being in the sunlight. because the
Mhm.
energy, like, the energy that, the sex hormones, the way that sex hormones get produced in the body, it uses certain energy,
Mhm.
and then it get produced. So when we lock ourselves in that, so our body lowers that hormone production, I believe so. So that's something that I want to dive into a little bit
Mhm.
deeper to understand. And then when I
Mhm.
think about it, like, okay, triple negative breast cancer, it came from somewhere, even though it's triple negative, where did it come from? So, and a few things that I read, like if you expose yourself to a strong sunlight, that you can basically work on that triple negative breast cancer and balance your hormones and balance your body's energy production and everything else, because that's how our body reacts to that. And the skin cancers are another one, that we
Mhm.
basically create skin cancers by putting all these toxins on our skin
Mhm.
and blocking those sunlights, I mean,
Mhm.
Mhm.
sun rays to enter through the skin and do the job. We basically block them with our own hands. And then we
Well,
get surprised why people get cancer.
Well, and if you think about it, the chemical, this is chemistry, what ends up happening when you're putting that stuff on your body, those chemicals are going to react differently once they're heated. So what is it
Yes.
doing once it's heated? That I think of it this way
Mhm.
too, because a lot of us as women, we go outside with our makeup on. We don't really think about the chemicals that are in our makeup
Mhm.
or on
Yes.
our skincare that will change as soon as we are out in the sun because the rays they change the chemical structure of it then too, but then also the heat activates it in a different way and it so changes the chemical structure again of it as
Oh,
well. So when we're sitting here thinking, well, maybe the sun's like, and you hear a lot about too, the sun causes cancer. Well, okay, is it the lotions maybe that we are putting on our kids? Is it or us even?
yeah.
Is it our
Mhm.
makeups? Is it our skincare products? Is it the other stuff we have around in our environments that are on top of our skin that are interacting with the
Yep.
sun? I mean, those are
Is
all
it a
really good.
trigger?
Is it a
Mhm.
trigger? Exactly. Those are
Mhm.
all really, really good questions because it's like it doesn't make sense because if you think about it, for millennia, our ancestors have been outside. They didn't live in, I mean, I'm sure they had huts, whatever, but not inside houses like this, not inside structures, not inside
Mhm.
buildings that are surrounded by cement and you don't even get outside and see the sun for 8 hours a day. I mean, like some people, they're in their cubicle or they're in their office space for 8 hours. So what are you doing to what's happening to your body when you don't have that interaction with the sun? Because like you were saying, Maya, it's not even just the receptors, they're everywhere in your body. It activates so many different systems. It's almost like I think of us as like plants. I mean, if a plant doesn't have sun, it's going to wither and die. If we don't
Yes.
have the sun, we have way more going on. What's going to happen to us? We need the
Yeah.
Mhm.
sun.
That's
Our
funny you
chemistry
should
makes up
mention
with the
that.
sun. Our
It's really
Yeah.
funny you
biology.
should mention that about, not getting the sunlight and if you're working all day in an office. So
Hmm.
as an air traffic controller who worked in an en route center facility,
Hmm.
um, that which is radar, you're a mushroom. We always called we're the fun guys, we're the fun people because we're in a dark hole all day. Yes, you get a break, but you may get 2 20-minute breaks a day and a
Hmm.
30-minute lunch and out of your day, and that would be it. So a lot of controllers, the minute they come outside, very sensitive to the sunlight, just bright light. So the sunglasses were going on, but it was very interesting. We were in a dark room the entire time, for the
Yeah.
most part. For your career, and you figure people who have been
Hmm.
air traffic controllers for 30 plus years in that particular environment, yeah, it's it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
can
That it
relate.
would have.
Yeah. How long were you in that environment for, Deb? How long do you?
Gosh. Uh, oh my goodness. At
Um,
least 20 years.
Whoa.
17
wow.
17 years for sure. Yeah. And then I was in an office building for a year or two out of there. And then
Hmm.
I was back in and then as a supervisor in a tower. So you're in a tower, but you could see. And for me, it was like, wow, that's a different game. That's a game changer right there, because it's amazing to be able to actually see. It was the sunlight. It was being able to, be in the sun and to, it's just brighter. Makes a
Yeah.
big, big difference
Mhm.
in how
Yeah.
people handle stress and what that looks like, you know. Excuse me. The different reactions that people would have. So you have, you've got your center controllers, you've got your tower controllers, and then you have your approach
Yeah.
controllers who are also working radar. So that's in a
Yeah.
dark building all day.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is, and
Yeah.
then beside being in a dark building, the problem is like the light fixtures that we have in those dark buildings are mostly LED lights, the blue lights or fluorescent light that is like so it affects that our entire like health, function of our human body,
Mhm.
and we
Mhm.
are like, as I said, like we have receptors from every little part of our human body has receptors to the sun, to the
Mhm.
daylight, and if we take like if we think of my kids always goes like, if mom interested in something, she's gonna go crazy now, and that's so true because like to me, so I literally like went and I changed all the light bulbs in the house to incandescent lights, and it's so calming. It's so different from having LED lights,
Yeah.
having in like a fluorescent like red lights in the bedroom, like we don't turn on any other lights like in the bedroom, like and the way I feel it, like in the beginning, me and my daughter, we put the alarm on to wake up before the sunrise so we can come outside. Now it's happening naturally after like just being a week doing something like that. It's just natural. We wake up early and we just come out right before the sunrise and we just spend an
Yeah.
hour sitting outside just talking and grounding and being on the grass barefoot. It's just so different. But and the interesting part is like as soon as it goes like 8:30 and gets dark outside, we just want to sleep. Like literally, it's like I want to go to bed and I want to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And that is so interesting. And I start paying attention that I just sleep by 9:30, I'm already asleep, just by changing couple of things, and I sleep through the
Yes.
night, right? So, and then
Mhm.
when so so we're talking about going crazy, but that's actually not going crazy. That's just basically connecting your own body to the nature, to the way the natural way
Mhm.
it has to go. And that's what your body responds to. As soon as it gets dark, you basically, you have to go to sleep. That's what we did. That's what animals in wilderness do. That's what the plants are doing, like no one
Mhm.
controls the plants, no one controls wild animals, and we are part of that world. Why can't we do the same thing?
Maya,
Mhm.
you brought up a really good point though. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going crazy. It's not going like, off a deep end or whatever when you're going into these things, because really it's just going back to what we were meant to be in the first place and what our ancestors have been doing
Yeah.
for this entire time. It's just not our way of life any longer. And really it's only been what, this last 120 years that it's really been gotten to that point of it.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, like when you were saying that, I'm just sitting here thinking, but that's how we're supposed to be as humans. It's not
Yes.
the fact of it is we've just changed things. We've changed things. I can't remember which book it was I was listening to. If I can remember, I'll tell you guys. But and it was talking about how what's around us, the way things are, the way things are structured, laws, whatever, it's an imagination. It's somebody's imagination. It's somebody's thought that was created. So everything around us is it was once somebody's thought. So if you think about it
Mhm.
though, going back into nature, getting out into the sun, that wasn't anybody's thought. That was just the way it is meant to be. So if you kind of break things down sometimes that way in health and like when you're addressing things,
Mhm.
how were we just meant to live?
Right.
And what are we doing when we're taking ourselves away from that? Like what's happening?
It
Well,
was it was a normal way of living, basically, the way humans have lived million years. And for us, I mean, like that's how people lived, and that's how in Amish countries people do live still. And
mhm.
then they actually have been proven to everyone that you don't need to get any shots or anything, to you to be healthy.
Mhm.
They actually have been proven this form of life living. I'm not saying like everyone should go to, and become an Amish or live Amish way, but at least we can, like, for parents out there, like, we can put an end to hold this is, to me, it's like, the dictation to human life. We've been dictated how to live our lives, how to proceed with this type of form of living.
Mhm.
And we should just put an end to this ourselves. We don't need anyone's permission to go in the morning and take your child out in the morning, or go and create this, group of parents getting together and making the school change their light bulbs and changing everything for the child to become a healthier, because they are our futures. And right. And then,
Yes.
I have
Mhm.
heard this so many times, because the system wanna create a human that would be easier to manage and control. And the way that they can be managed and controlled, when you keep them like kind of low, level, let's say it
Mhm.
this way. So, and what they're talking about our kids, our grandchildren,
Keep them
Mhm.
surviving, not thriving.
right. Keep them surviving, not thriving, and be like a basically financial, like a machine to, you know
Mhm.
to big pharma and others, sources. And to me, it is totally unacceptable. That's why I'm so passionate, like, to changing, because I really wouldn't want my grandchildren or great grandchildren to become a slave. They
Mhm.
they deserve to live a fully, functioning life, and, and to be fully healthy. I mean, completely healthy.
Mhm.
And it does not require a lot to do something like that, because we just have to change our way of living. And if every family is going to change their way of living,
Mhm.
they don't need to rely on anything else.
True.
It's all comes to understanding. And like, if the school is not complying with your demand, putting your child into the school, so think about what else you can do.
Get
Don't
people
say
together.
like, yeah, get people together or take your child out of school,
Homeschool.
right?
Yeah.
At
A
your
lot of people are homeschooling
Mhm.
now.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are
Well,
taking responsibility of bringing a human life, a human being to this world, you have to take responsibility. How are you going to raise that child?
mhm.
One thing you don't know, the other thing you educate yourself. So educate yourself and do the right things.
Mhm.
So because the child is not a doll that you can play with and throw away when you don't need it, right?
Or an
Mhm.
It's
experiment for
or
others.
experiment
Yeah,
for exactly,
for
or to
sure.
become an experiment for others. It's
Mhm.
your flesh and blood, like, it's came. And actually, this speaking about that I've read, like, if pregnant woman expose herself to every day in the sun, she has a very healthy pregnancy, and placenta is very strong, delivering,
Ooh.
yeah. And then hormonally, that baby is gonna have, it's gonna be born strong.
Mhm. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine the mitochondria production in that and what happens, at the cellular level for those people. If you think about it, like how many though are working and not going outside and, or don't have they're not their conditions aren't conducive where they can. It's just
Right.
and it makes such a big difference. When you were talking to earlier, Maya, about that study with the school children, did you ever come across where they had changed the light bulbs. What are they called? What were they? The iridescent
The
light bulbs before? Was that
fluorescent? The
Fluorescent,
no,
fluorescent?
the ones before the LED,
incandescent.
incandescent.
Oh,
Yeah.
incandescent.
If you went and you switched them out with those, they would notice that their symptoms would change. Like they would have it. There was a
Big
one
time.
study where there was a classroom and you can actually see the children. They're just like, it's like everybody has ADHD. Like everybody is just hyperactive, off the walls,
Hmm.
bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
The classroom, in the study, they changed the lights to the incandescent light bulbs. Calm classroom.
Hmm.
Interesting.
There were a couple, and those were the ones that were like the outliers that probably truly did have the condition,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but it was just interesting. And they were saying too, because we don't use candlelight at night any longer or fire.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
those lights are still part of the same rays as from the sun, correct?
They're similar.
Similar.
It's just,
Similar.
yeah, they're similar. Of course, nothing can replace sun rays,
Mhm.
but they're similar. And especially like when you light up a wood, it's
Mhm.
similar. So, and it's close. Candles are great, but the problem is the type of candles right now, they release a lot of chemicals or fume into the air. That's another thing. So if you can, if you can find a source of like natural candles, that's different. If
Oh,
not,
beeswax are usually better.
beeswax, or
Mhm.
even like there's like a soy not soy, but coconut wax there's out there. I know like making candles that actually it's the simplest thing that you can do, and without any adding any essential oils or any. You don't need to add essential oils, you need the light.
Mhm.
So, but in our days and times, I mean, we can do candle light, but we're just like so busy sometimes, or not every family could handle that, especially if you have a little child running and dropping and whatever. So the best thing to do is to get those like a low voltages of incandescent lights. Like
Mhm.
I've got like red ones, I got blue ones, I got green ones. I had different colors. So, I mean, you can use them in different type of days. So the green colors, basically, I believe so, we're receiving from chlorophyll from the trees, because the trees get chlorophyll to hold the energy, from a sun rays. But in our body, I believe so, we use melanin. There's different type of melanin. That is a melanin we know it's like, protect the nerve cells and, other, it's like so for our body, melanin is such an important, I don't know. I think the body makes it from amino acid, tyrosine. So it's such an important, like, I would say protein, probably. So the human body, when we eat food, human body converts food into the energy, right? Electrons and protons.
Mhm.
And that's how, we have energy. So we never directly make energy from food, like directly like from food. It converts it into the energy, and then that's how our body makes it.
Mhm.
So, and then when you put yourself out in the morning in the sun with the sunrise and grounding,
Mhm.
so I believe so the sun, the way I read it, if I remember right, the sun has a positive, energy, the earth has a no, or opposite, negative or opposite. So when the sun rays hits the earth, it creates those electrons and protons. Like, when they talk about grounding, you get those free electrons to your body. And that's works as like getting food to your energy. And that's why you more you spend outside, the less hungry you're gonna get, because you got the food source, like you got the energy, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't know if
but
this is true. I gotta tell you guys something though. I gotta just
yeah.
throw that out there because I saw this on a podcast and it was from Man of Vitality because they sell a bunch of minerals and stuff. Anyways, the founder had said that he knows of a couple of people that were like literally living off the sun for the most part. I mean, they were
For the
eating
most part.
some, but
Yeah.
for the most part, they were spending their days, I mean, doing meditation, mindsets, meditation and all that other kind of stuff. And I don't know what else they were doing, but they were pretty much living off the sun, which was
Well,
interesting.
I have heard that too many, many years ago.
Mhm.
So, but again, like I would say, like people, that's where I think the fasting comes. Like we can fast as a humans, we can fast. Like
Mhm.
we can fast like about 2 months in terms of not eating food, about 2 months. I don't know beyond that. So, and that's the way we clean up our body and do the stuff. Same thing like every other living creature in the world, like, animals, they don't eat every single hour like we do, like,
Mhm.
or every couple of hours like we do. So they get the energy from the sun. Like when we had a dog, our dog would eat once a day. She wouldn't want to eat more than once a day, for example. But I remember like she would always like would go to the door and ask her and to stand there for us to let her out,
Mhm.
especially when there would be a sunny day early in spring. she would go, and we had this like a bed outside in the backyard that we would lay down. But our dog was smarter than we were. Like, she would go out, like she would basically go to the door every so many times a day and just go and lay down, especially when there would be a sunny day. She would just go, and you could see this joy on her face. Like she would literally would lay down and enjoy, like,
Yeah.
so
Animals do.
relaxed, so relaxed. And I am like, and I remember that now. At the time, I had no idea. And I remember that now, how she would enjoy that. And I feel like when I go out in the morning and
Mhm.
just sit with the sunrise, I feel that relaxation in my body, just relaxed. And I remember when I was doing the cancer treatment for myself, and I had this thing, like, because people were talking about meditation a lot. You gotta meditate to change your mindset. So I am not a person who can sit down, close your eyes, and meditate. I am more of on the hyper side.
Mhm.
I cannot just sit down. It's like
You're
I
like
would,
walking meditation type,
right,
aren't you?
right, exactly.
Got it.
I would have tons of thoughts going through my mind,
Mhm.
but I know, like, and I knew that I had to meditate. So the best way for me was walking. So every day at 7 o'clock in the morning, because that was a best time. At that time, I had no idea, but every day at 7 o'clock in the morning, I would go to Forest Preserve for an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, and I would just walk in the nature. I would be just so calm and relaxed. And I had no idea later, when I started learning about circadian rhythm and like our body being connected, I was like, I think that was a whole entire point for me, being exposed to the like a morning sun and getting that sunlight. It didn't matter like what weather was, unless it was like crazy raining or crazy snowing, that I would stay home. But other than that, I would go outside, even though it would drizzle or, So, and people say, oh, it's a cloudy day, it's a rainy day, I cannot go. But the thing is, sun rays do penetrate through the clouds.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They do penetrate through the cloud. We
Yep.
still get them.
Yeah, you can still get a sunburn on a cloudy day.
Exactly. So you should not stop that. And now I understand that I was doing myself such a huge favor by doing that.
Mhm.
Going for a walk for an hour or 2 hours and being in nature, because the through those sun raises and through the because I would go to Forest Preserve. Luckily it was behind my backyard, so I didn't have to go too far. But so going to the forest and through those sun raises, like those chlorophylls from the tree, gives your body those green lights. That's another way of your hemoglobin, I believe, so like switching and making like more oxygen to your body, giving you more oxygen.
That's pretty cool though. Like
I
if you
know,
think about
isn't
how
it?
it all works.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We are part of this nature and we forgot about it. We just have to
So
learn
there's
how
actually a
everything
name for
works.
that.
Oh
There's
yeah.
actually a name for the people that um, basically the pseudoscientific belief known as breatharianism,
Oh
or
really?
inedia, which is they claim that humans can live off of the sun,
Yeah.
solely
That's
on sunlight, or yeah,
Yeah. You get energy, and
interesting.
energy is your food source. There's a
Yeah.
lot of actions happens in human body just by by being exposed to the sun. And like misleading people that the sun could cause cancer is just like this is a big pharma's like basically entire agenda to get, because they know the most money they can make is from cancer field, from people who have cancer. They know that, because cancer treatments are so expensive, and they knew that. And that's what their entire agenda. And look at now, every what's third person gets cancer nowadays.
mm,
I mean, they got to that point of getting cancer. And it's not only skin cancer related to the sun exposure. There are like many other conditions. Diabetes, that's another one.
mm-hmm.
You
Directly
can
related to the sun.
directly related to the sun. GLP
Mm-hmm.
production directly
Yep.
related to the sun.
Yep. Yeah, most people don't realize that. You can increase your GLP production if you actually spend more time out in the sun. So if you want to
Exactly.
lose weight, you don't have to take the shots, you don't have to take the medications. Sometimes
Yeah.
just actually you need to get out. Because I mean, the other part of it
What?
is too,
What's that you say? That's blasphemy. You mean get out and
Yeah.
actually do something?
I know, it's
It's
like,
so funny.
what?
Yeah,
I
I
know, because it
know.
like, so here's the other part of it people don't realize. It regulates your hormones too. So
Yeah.
there's certain other chemical productions that happen. And so if you're having thyroid issues, sometimes you need to be out in the sun more because what ends up happening is if you, especially if you have, and this is also sometimes it's related to nutrition too, but you could even have a harder time converting your T3 into T4 if you don't have enough sunlight. If you don't have enough of that from the sun, it's going to be hard for you to convert that stuff anyways, even just throughout for it. So I'm sitting here thinking as we're having this conversation, there's two things I still wanted to see if we can cover if you guys are still good for time. One
Yeah.
is what should people be putting on their skin to help prevent sunburns? And two, what should people be putting in their bodies so that they don't get sunburned? Because we know antioxidants are super important for you to be able to not burn. More people that spend direct sunlight too in the sun without sunglasses, without glasses, eyes open, will actually increase the antioxidant production in your body too. So it'll help decrease the amount of sunburns that you can get. But the other thing is making sure that you just have enough antioxidants in general. And another good point is CBD, actually, your endocannabinoid system works directly with the sun, which is part of what you were talking about, Maya, too, with all the receptors and everything through your body.
Mhm.
So if your endocannabinoid system stays continually off, it's going to be almost impossible for you to get better from anything. Well, if your endocannabinoid system is also regulated by the sun and you're not getting enough sun, your endocannabinoid system might not ever get rebalanced again. So cannabinoids are released because of the sunlight, the activation within your skin.
Right.
So I mean, like if you're not getting out in the sun, you're not getting that, and the cannabinoids that are created in your body naturally are your happy molecules. Those are like the things that make you super happy and excited and enjoy life, loving life. And the more depressed we are, the less of that we have.
Well,
There's other stuff that comes into it too, but like, I
Yeah.
mean, there's other
Well,
things that you can do besides slathering a bunch of chemicals all over your body to help prevent
right.
sunburn,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, melatonin is a precursor for tryptophan, dopamine, and serotonin.
Mhm.
Okay. So if we're depleted in production of melatonin by between 60 to 80%,
Mhm.
what do you think like people's mental stage is going to be at?
Oh,
Okay. And then plus, the other thing is most important factor is like talking about our microbiome. Our microbiome, remind me to read a little, think about sunglasses on the, after I finish this. So microbiome, they communicate between each other through the energy sources.
Mhm.
That's why like when people don't feel good in their stomach, immediately they don't feel good in their brain.
Mhm.
You know, anxiety and everything, or people think like, oh, I'm getting like a, you know, heartburn or discomfort in the stomach or butterfly feeling in the stomach, you know, and anxiety. So because of the gut-brain axis, there's a direct
Mhm.
communication between like it's like basically like electrical impulse or something like that. And so those bacteria, when I was listening to Natasha Campbell McBride, she was talking about, and there's another researcher, her name's Dr. Sabina Hazar or Hazam, if I'm not mistaken. So I was listening to her. She does actually a lot of research on you know, sun sensitivity. She is doing research on sensitivity of light to microbiome, particularly certain bacteria. She was talking about like nowadays people who have like a SIBO, IBS, IBD, or any digestive issues, they are mostly depleted in bifidobacterium. Like there's 3 types of bifidobacteriums. So they basically get distinguished in human body because of the way we've been exposed to so many different things.
Mhm.
But they are the ones that keep entire microbiome basically intact. You know,
That is
lactobacillus. It
fascinating.
is so fascinating. They basically can control. So they can control like a digestive system. So we like how many times, I don't know, like you guys, but for me, like I would work with a client. It's like based on the ways that I have learned about stuff, based on the things like you work with a client and then it would get better, but not 100% better. And you're stuck there and you're kind of, oh my gosh, what am I missing? What am I missing? So, and I would think through everything except exposure to the light. Do you know what I'm saying? I would go through every step, okay, based on, on food. Yes, we changed the food, we did this, we did that, but I would never ever, would have never thought that the light plays such a huge role on microbiome. It basically like the Dr. Jack Kruse said, like just go out there and open your stomach and expose to the sun.
Jack
Literally
Kruse.
like that.
He's so
Yeah, I
funny.
know. He is funny, but he is like my basically like I love listening. He has so many great inputs in everything. And so I really would like to learn more about a lot of things that what our body can do by just being exposed into the sun. And because like autism is another one. You can basically, like I mean, Dr. Jack Kruse would say, he's a neurosurgeon, he would say like, when kids with autism, they don't have that connection. It's like electrical cord connection, their cord is broken. It goes like this.
Oh, I feel
So
it
the
every
cord
day.
has to be, yeah, it has to be connected. So, but the thing is, sun repairs, melanin repairs that, it connects it. The
Yeah.
melanin does repair the things.
You want to hear something cool?
What?
So since I started doing that, because I went down this path too before in this winter. So I was, because I tried to figure out a bunch of stuff because I couldn't figure out what was still going on with me. So I was going, and it was the sun, Maya, like I was missing part of it was the sun.
Sun.
So, and Deb. And so like I started going out and practicing out there, like just going out to the sun. And they say to do it within, what is it in the studies? There's 10 to 15 minutes. Within 10 to 15 minutes of waking up, you should be exposed to it. I can't remember the exact time.
It's like 20 minutes if you don't have time, but usually those all this like lights, they usually in the air between like a sunrise. I mean, once it's sunrises, and for next 2 hours until about 10 o'clock in the morning. So they're there for a few hours. If you can spend those a few hours in that sun, and that's what Dr. Jack Kruse said, if you take autistic child and let him be exposed a few hours a day, like 4, 5, 6 hours a day to the sunlight, you're going to repair that problem.
Yes. So here's the interesting thing. Remember, we had fixed, because I was still having those issues with my gut, right? So then I went and we worked on that, fixed that. So I came off of antidepressants. I've been on antidepressants since I was 20.
Yeah.
I was able to decrease the ADHD medication that I was taking a long time, right? I never thought I'd be able to get rid of it. And I do totally okay for the most part. I mean, there's days, but even the ADHD medication, I was able to decrease. There's sometimes it even feels like it's too much, like I need to go back down or something. But like, and those are the two biggest things that changed. But I can tell if I do not spend time out in the sun, my symptoms will be worse. The autism's worse if I am not outside and I'm not grounding and I'm not spending at least 30 minutes in the sun. If I'm able to spend at least 2 hours, it's like my executive function decides to come back, and it's like all of a sudden my brain is just lit up and decides to, like, all the connections are all,
isn't it?
You're not having like the little, I feel like sometimes it's like the glitches, like I constantly, like it'll be like a glitch.
Yeah. And I could say,
yeah, like, it's fascinating.
Isn't it like, and you started this whole thing, like, step by step, I mean, like since what, March?
Yeah.
Since March. And this is we're talking about was 6 months, and you had such a huge like change, like getting off so many drugs and everything. That's just fascinating, right?
It is.
So when you go, and of course, like it's so we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention. I should not say that. I think we don't even consider that so many drugs, they do affect the microbiome functionality. And that destroys whatever, like electron or chain, like with the communication chain. Every drug affects that. Not only drug supplements, we talk about supplement, but we don't even think about it. How does it that affect our microbiome, their communication process? Because like when we do introduce them in isolated forms. So it's not all about food. Like what I'm understanding is like a diet is I mean, it's a good thing to pay attention to, but it's not only food. I think for me
Yes.
now, after doing so, after reading, so I decided to take certain courses in biophysics just to learn more about it. I realized that it's not actually the food, number one, for me on a ladder of like, how I, work with my clients. So I think that what I have to put in now is like exposing yourself to a natural light.
Yes.
Because that is such a huge important. And I was feeling this, like there was something missing in my, this like, whole, the graph that I built for myself working with a client, like, I was feeling there was something missing.
Yes.
It's like, I'm like, what is it missing? Like I have like, I have this, nutrition, I have circadian rhythm, I have like a hydration, I have this, I have that, but there was something missing. And now I realize like this is exactly what is missing.
Yeah, it's a main thing
Right?
that's missing for the
Right.
majority of people.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I was just thinking, Deborah, like, because you went on your hike after you were diagnosed. How long ago was it? Like between your surgery and then you decided to go on your hike, like in being diagnosed and going on your hike?
Well, it was after all the reconstructive surgeries. So it was the end of August that I got cleared to actually go and do something. So, and I did my hike, I left the beginning of June of 24. So it
Yeah.
was 20. So yeah, it
It
was
was
during,
last
it was
year. Yeah.
So you were
and it
even in
was,
that time frame where your body was still like trying to still rebuild, but you
oh
spent
yeah,
all that time in the sun hiking.
definitely. It was the best. I'm telling you, it was just being out. It was being outside. It was being in the
Yeah.
sun. It was just, it was grounding. It was really becoming, yeah, I
Yeah.
just can't even explain it. It was incredible. And still to
Yeah.
this day think that is the best thing that that I ever could have done. And I
Yeah.
should be doing it every single day. I mean, I'm outside, but just to go backpacking, throw on a backpack, or even just to go for a long walk up on the trails and stuff like that is something that, is just good for the soul. Good for the
Yeah.
soul, good for the, your
Yeah.
mind, body, and soul. It
I
truly,
And
truly
yeah.
is.
And
I just
trying to
really,
go
Yeah.
barefoot at least because we're putting shoes on.
Mhm.
And then on the top of it nowadays, we're putting synthetic shoes on.
Yes.
Mhm.
We're
Yes.
not even like, it's
I-
so hard to find any leather shoes or anything like that to walk.
right.
There's dude like
So I had a question. I had a question for you when it came to sun, and I was thinking, I thought, and I have a hat on, and I thought, what about people who, and we have hair, but what about like my brother's bald? He has no hair, and he's been Southern California, born and raised. He's out here in South Carolina, is in the sun all the time, and I'm just curious, do they get better mitochondrial action than we do because we wear a hat, or if I have hair?
Okay.
have more sun
No,
exposure.
actually,
Do you know
this
that?
is,
Have you heard that?
well, this is what I've read. That is like people who have alopecia, they're reversing alopecia by being in the sun and getting enough sunlight.
I need to take that
Really?
down. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And there's many cases alopecia being in the sun that reverses their condition. And
Oh
that
my
is like,
gosh.
that to
There
me
you go.
was very fascinating. Like, I am like, okay, of course, we always go to nutrition and stuff like that, but the being on the sun,
Mm.
but because the sun, as I said, like every part of our body has receptors to the sun because it like, it uses as a source of energy to break down and to convert the things to one and another.
Mhm.
And I think, and when it comes to repair, that it's like, it's a biophysically, it knows how to repair it. Because the intelligent is like intelligent of human body is above and beyond like all of of whatever like it's exist out there. I don't think so there's a science who's going to be ever capable of breaking down all the abilities of what human body can do.
Oh,
But
it's too intricate. It's too
yeah,
It's, what
Yeah.
do they say? It's like the human body is the most intricate and perfectly designed
Perfectly designed,
um
perfectly.
system, but
Yeah.
there's more to it than that because it's so hard. There's so much work to be able to help to figure it out.
Yes, and we've been pulled away from that. We've been past 100 years. We've been like step by step, have been pulled away from that. And then now we came to confusion, to such a huge confusion that we have to listen to the scientists, what they're telling us what to do, you know. And
Mhm.
but the scientists are telling us to stay away from the sun because sun causes cancer. You know, scientists are telling us what food is good for us to eat and what food is not good for us to eat. Scientists are telling us, like, you know, what time do we have to go to sleep and how long do we have to do. I just, like, curiosity for, I put it like, you know, the LED lights versus like incandescent lights. And this is what Google told me. LED lights are better than incandescent lights. In many ways. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's like it burns less energy. It gives
But
you
does
more,
it really?
it gives you
Just
more
kidding.
light. Yeah,
Oh.
it gives you more
Yeah.
light because it's like a, and if that incandescent light, for people who believe in global warming, whatever, which is not
Mhm.
true in my opinion, you know, so they
I love this podcast.
in 2019, you know, Obama and Biden, they,
Yeah.
you know, they put the end to incandescent light. So they stop producing incandescent light and they're gonna stop selling them as of, I think, 2027 or 2028, something like that. So
Mhm.
whatever you can get right now, you can get it right now. And they're like a cents, they're like under $1 per bulb.
So how can people as a group, I guess, or how can people help to petition against that? Because really it's not in our best benefit if we do go straight LED and fluorescent, correct?
There's certain scientific and physics are working on it right now to create a petition of like changing that. But all again, you know, show me a government that would work for people, not against people. I don't think so. There's that exists maybe one or two countries out there, but I doubt it. So and that's what I know. Straight and sharp, right?
That's why I love you, Maya.
So for me, it's like I think people have to just do their you know, do their homework and like, you know, if people like parents, they have to be very open where they're putting their kids in, what their kids been exposed to. You know, don't take your kids to places. If you take them, like, you know, I've studied have shown people who work at night shift and been exposed to all those LED light, their lifespan is like a year per year, like, you know, it becomes shorter.
Yes.
You know,
And
Mhm.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
whole nother
Yeah.
topic we could go down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
people were telling me, like, you know, your husband was having such a healthy lifestyle. Why did he die at the age of 62, you know, suddenly? So now I could say, like, because 15 years he worked night shift.
Mhm.
You know, he worked night shift, you know, and
Yeah.
that is like exactly what, like, you know, he was exposed to. And a lot of people don't believe in it.
Oh no,
Mhm.
there's certain industries that will bring in sleep specialists, and I mean probably the focus should be more on the sun too, but they'll
Yeah.
bring them in and try to help them as much as they can. I know
Yeah.
because I was at one point in time I worked at a coal mine, and I was one of the wellness coordinators and coaches, and so we would bring people in to be able to help them, to be able to help them sleep because of this, you know, the statistics and stuff that do go along with it.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard on you. Really hard
Yeah.
on you. And if you're not doing like getting out in the sun, because that was one of the things that they would say to do, like get him, you know, at least have that sunlight before you go to sleep.
Mhm.
Well, people weren't.
Well,
They put their sunglasses on and then they would still just keep driving and go home, not have the sunlight, and then wonder why
yeah.
they have a hard time sleeping even during the day or wake up multiple
Yeah.
times during the day. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's really, again, because they're not getting that sunlight.
Yeah, because their circadian rhythm was completely off. Completely off. You know,
Yep.
how can you like all this, like the thing that should repair your body, it was completely off. And then melatonin and melanin is actually plays a huge role in LED synthesis, in oxidation of LED.
Yeah.
You know, the bad cholesterol we talk about, the body does not make anything bad, right? Human body never makes anything bad. So it's what we expose to, what we do, like, you know, that's what makes the things worse. But so that's like and we don't think about stuff like that.
Well, no, and then if you think about it too, like the blue light that we're exposed to by our screens every single day, along with the
Yeah.
LED lights, along with,
Yeah.
you know, everything else, like as soon as your body, isn't it as soon as your body is exposed, your eyes are exposed to blue light, like your melatonin depletes by what, 90%? It's a huge, it's a very high percentage. So
Very,
the
very
minute you
high.
take off your glasses, your blue LED, your blue blocking, and you look at a screen or you look at your light, they're just when all your melatonin anyways. Because
Right.
there's a lot of, so I mean, there's some things you have to make like lifestyle adaptations to be able to help yourself out. So that means like, what is it, 2 hours before bedtime? No blue light, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Incandescent
Yeah.
light bulbs, I bought it from 1000bulbs.com.
1000
So,
bulbs. I'm getting on there because
yeah,
my husband and I were like,
1000bulbs.com.
we were shopping for light bulbs not too long ago, and we're like, what in the world? Do you guys notice how expensive those light bulbs are?
They're crazy expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, they have like, so I got 40 watt. It's good enough to, I mean, like to have it, but if you want to get 60, that's fine too. You know, totally. I got like a red incandescent lights and others. I just want to read my note very quickly when we talked about
You want to talk about sunglasses, right?
Sunglasses,
Oh, yes.
yeah. I just want to say, like, what happened when you wear sunglasses? Sunglasses filters or block significant part of the light spectrum, especially UV and blue lights. This interrupts the natural feedback loop. So false signal to a brain. When people like during the day, they wear sunglasses. So with sunglasses on, the brain receives the environment as dimmer than it actually is. So it receives it like a weaker light input. So it doesn't trigger strong protective like response. So produce pupil contraction. Normally pupils contracts like in strong sunlight to reduce the light exposure. With sunglasses, pupils remain more dilated, allowing more UV lights and light intensity to enter, like, you know, to enter deeper layer of the retina. So this actually like basically exposure to the sensitive tissue. So that's where the sun, like a skin gets burned, you know, because of that, we get more burn on the skin. When people wear like a sunglasses, their skin will burn more than not wearing a sunglasses. So weaker melanin and hormonal response. Since the eyes underreport the true brightness, the body doesn't ramp up melanin production or other protective mechanisms in the skin. That's what I meant. Like it would burn more. So it would lead to stronger effect of sun on skin, burning faster. And then circadian disruptions. Blocking natural light signals confusion in circadian clock, affect hormonal rhythm, mitochondrial function, and melanin synthesis. That basically like just by wearing sunglasses. This is crazy, right? So we like some people would wear it. Oh, it's cool to wear sunglasses. But this is a damage we get. If you don't want to have a sun on your face or on your eyes, like you were wearing a hat when we started, just wear a hat. Is your eyes are still exposed to that light.
Yeah.
You know, or
and for those
under the umbrella
who wear these with all of the protective coatings and all that stuff, yeah, we have to just pull them off. You're gonna have to go out without them.
Yeah, my whole point is like the health of human body. It's not only due to the nutrition. It's not only due to like hydration or other parts. It's due to so many different aspects of life, and just seeing that and being part of nature, embracing the nature and learning from nature. Yes. I think that's what we have to pay attention to and be more wise on that part and not to be ignorant. Well, that it's not going to happen to you.
Yes,
Right?
there's that. There's that. A lot of us, I know I did. I never in a million years would have thought that would deal with the health issues that I've dealt with, or even um cancer. Like
Yeah.
there's no way I would have ever thought in a million years I would have been diagnosed with cancer at 33 years old. Absolutely
Yeah.
none.
Can you,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so many young people are being nowadays, they're just their circadian rhythm so off. And
Hmm.
that's why we see so young people getting cancer at early 20s.
Hmm.
There's so many kids are getting leukemia,
Mm-hmm.
babies. Well, it's related to other things, of course, but the parents not being exposed to the sunlight, the
Hmm.
fact like hemoglobin and T cells get produced by reaction to the sun, natural killer cells. So we deplete our body in those.
Hmm. So basically, we're depleting our body, and a good majority of everything that
Right.
protects us, keeps us safe, fights off fights off
Mhm.
disease, fights off illness, keeps us balanced because
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're not in nature. We're
Yeah.
not spending time in the sun like we should. I mean, it's
We
like if we
don't.
think about it, it's really, really simple. We just don't want to be inconvenienced.
Right. So for people who are being afraid to be, a lot of people say, "Oh, I get sunburn so easily," so they cover themselves. So everybody, like some doctors would say, who go into the biophysics dipper, they would say, like for people who got breast cancer, they have to open their breast and just expose their breast to sunlight.
Hmm.
They just have to sit out there, just under the sun. But we're not saying that you gotta, I mean, like if you are getting sunburned easily, or, you teach your body to build in gradually. Do
Hmm.
early morning sun and then do evening sun and add like 10-15 minutes every single day to a stronger and stronger sun.
Hmm.
There is no study, I mean, not like studies, I would not say that. I think there is no, throughout the daytime, there is no time when the sun could cause damage to human body. There is no such a time, as the sun was given to us as a source of energy, basically. And the Earth's working, and we're on this planet Earth. They communicate with each other. They talk to each other.
Literally, we're like batteries. We need to be
Yeah.
recharged. Like for real.
Yeah,
Like for
Yeah.
real.
I know. That's
Yeah.
exactly. It's like a battery, positive and energy, and
Yep.
a negative energy
Mhm.
part. You put them together, they work. They create
Yep.
energy.
That's I kind of think
So
of like we're the battery between like
yes,
Earth and Sun. I don't
between
know.
sun and earth,
Definitely.
exactly. So
Mhm.
I know
That's
we're
true.
like at 22 minutes past our
Oh
work
yeah.
time.
I
It's so
know, huh?
interesting to talk about stuff. Yeah.
There's
So
so much we can still cover. I mean, Deborah even found this incredible skin sunscreen, skin blocker.
yeah,
And we didn't even get to that. Maybe we should just
I
do
know.
this again next time too. What do you
We
guys?
can continue. We can continue because there's still a lot to talk about stuff.
There's so much. We
Right?
could go over this. We could go over the sunscreen. We could go over like what other
Yeah.
safe methods are out there. Because the other thing I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about too is because I do know that there are certain skin types that tend to get skin cancers more frequently too, or burn more frequently, like redheads, redheaded, fair skinned people.
Fair skin
Um,
people. Yeah.
yeah. Like my mom
Yeah.
is one of them. She doesn't really tan very much or very well, I mean, but she is she has red hair and the light fair skin. And so how do you
Right.
protect that? So if we can, I
Yeah, we
think it'd
can
be
talk
good that we
about
talk about
that.
those things.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can
Mhm.
talk. I know dark skinned people, like, when they moved from South more to the north, I mean, not moved, they, made them move basically when they enslaved them. Their vitamin D production went down by a lot,
Hmm.
especially on the northern part, and
Yes.
they became more prone to a lot of, health conditions.
Hmm.
And and there's a lot of correlation between melanin, melatonin, and like vitamin D3 synthesis
Hmm.
with the sun, you know,
Yeah.
exposure. So yeah, we can talk about those next time.
We'll talk
Definitely.
about it again. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it
Sounds
again.
good.
In
I
2
know.
weeks. So next time will be not this next week, but the week after that.
Yeah, hopefully.
So
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
on YouTube channel, I'll share all the links that I have to
Mhm.
everything what I what I read. So
Okay.
I'll share those links if you guys want to put them on your YouTube channel under this video for people who would be interested to read about them.
Yes, and if you could put Russell Ryder, is that who that did the study? Russell Ryder.
Russell Ryder,
Was that the
yes.
individual who did the? If you
Yeah.
if you could put something on there with his, I just find it fascinating, and I wasn't sure if I wrote his name down correctly or not, so I was going to look
Okay.
him up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. A study that was done 50 years ago, and we're still not any
He's
more
been
ahead than we
doing, like,
were.
I think he's been doing
So
study on melatonin for 53 years. He's still alive.
Wow.
This
it's
is just
amazing, which is
amazing.
great. Yeah. Well, why
And
did
we,
the
I,
parents do more?
and the thing is, like, we know about stuff like that. And he published over 5,000 papers. He published them. It's out there. And like, why didn't we see that? Like, why don't we see that?
Exactly. You're right. Exactly.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
like,
There's that
yeah.
many that he published.
About 5,000 studies on melatonin only.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that'll be I'd love to read
Yeah.
more about him and stuff. So
Yeah, I would definitely share that. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks
I think we're
for
good.
joining us,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, Wendy, for coming on.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks
Yeah.
for listening.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye,
Yeah.
everybody. Have a good
Bye.
week. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.